love to taste. Yeah, I'm gay. I need cum to start my day. 1 teaspoon of penis juice to keep the straight away. I'm fucking gay. Your hole was made for me. I'll crawl inside and live a life of quiet dignity. I'm fucking gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. And gay's my middle name. My first is also gay. Yeah, my last name is the same. I'm fucking gay. At least that's what they say when they see me dancing gaily in the big gay fag parade. Yeah, I'm gay. I eat poo-poo last souffle and wash it down with piss like delicious lemonade. I'm fucking gay. And gay sex is my trade. Bottom to top, I'll call the lot and make it rain. Don't tell my wife. She's not about this life. She doesn't know I'm with her, cause she looks like a guy. Don't tell my kids. They never would forgive. They don't know that I'm the one who killing penis kids. Don't tell the cops. They'd confiscate my cock and lock me up in jail with all the burly cons. Tell the cops I'm gayer than they thought. I've got a taste for man flesh and that will never stop. Cause I'm gay. That's right, I'm gay. Guess what, I'm gay. Yeah, I'm gay. Cause I'm gay. That's right, I'm gay. Guess what, I'm gay. I'm fucking gay. I'm fucking gay. They call me Gay Jack the Ripper. Cause I hate women and I'm gay. I'm like gay Jeffrey Dahmer. If he was normal and not straight.
Yo! Yo! Hey, how's it going? How's it going, guys? We good? Another day in the office. I'm doing a gaming stream later. I'm going to be playing Atomfall, I think. I'm downloading it as we speak. And I will go back to Stalker 2 at some point. But I think I'm going to play Atomfall today. I think that's going to be good. We'll see. We will see. Wake up, chat. Oh, wake up, guys. Wake up. iDubbbz, wake up. I mean, fucking Ethan, wake up. I need to watch that again, man. I need to torture you all with that once again.
Okay,
where is
that's
it?
Wonderful.
Where is
How do I
the
make
moment?
Money off depressed people.
Yo, Chud, wow.
Wow. Hey. Thank you for the super chat, G's. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's watch the best bit of the video again.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
What's up, everybody? I'm Hassan Piker in the Austin broadcast coming to you live from a cloudy day here in California, Los Angeles. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls.
Oh my god!
Became a member.
Diminished Dark Nut with the super generous 20 gifted straight away. Wow, what a great start to the day. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I've finally done it. I watched Ethan.
Okay, this bit sucks.
This the most until late about
Get to the bit where they're dancing.
How? Wake up, Ethan.
There we go.
Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
This is no longer a dream. This is a nightmare. Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb bitch is telling you to wake up.
Wake up.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Just wake up.
Now this is content
Wake
cop.
up.
Wake up.
Wake up. Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do a react content yet, chat.
I'm the same. Nobody's told you to wake up, Ethan.
Ooh, yummy. I love Sabra hummus.
Time to wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
Wake up.
Oh, fuck, dude? What's going on here? Why has it done this? Dude, how do I get off of this? What the fuck? What's going on? Okay. What the fuck was that? What is big picture mode? I've never seen that before. I must have clicked the wrong thing. Steam won. Steam had had enough of it. Steam was sick of it, clearly. Also, I need to set a goal up, don't I? Oi, Casey. Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wakey, wakey. Wake up. Wake up, guys. Let me set a goal real quick. Let me just set a goal real quick. Okay. I do want to do some politics spurging before we get into it today, I think. Okay. Dude. People have sent me this and are like, oh, you got to listen to this, Chud. You got to listen to this, man. This is crazy. Okay. And it's like a 3.5 hour video. And apparently Keemstar has been some sort of sleazebag with, you know, someone that used to work for him or something. Bro, 3 hours and a half is a lot of fucking content to get through for a stream. You're looking at like, that's 7 hours. That's a minimum 7 hour react. Play it. Well, I can't play the whole thing. That's ridiculous. It's too long. You said you didn't have content. Yeah, but like, you know, I mean, listening to a call just to hear a few snippets of Keemstar being a sleazy fuck is not really that interesting to me. Well, my basic take on reading about it and seeing about this is like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, there's some funny clips in it, but that's about it, really. Shamu's got the goods, as per usual. Are you going to sweep for Keemstar because he's in your circle? Bro, I don't understand why people act like that's a thing. Bro, I've not spoken to Keemstar for fucking months. I've got no desire to sweep for Keemstar. But it's just a ridiculously long call to engage with. And also, it's related to Lolcow Live, so I'm like, is there some sort of funny business happening here? I'm not sure. Like, they did a whole stream about it in response.
Even describe. I wish you could understand how much.
And at one point, we'll exchange fluids, but there's no rush. Like, you know, I will totally turn your face into a glazed donut at some point in our lives, but I miss my friend.
Well, there's no reason I have to go anywhere.
What do you mean?
Even describe. I wish you could.
I mean, I guess it's kind of funny. I guess, I don't know, dude. Like, is this like a serious... I don't understand if this is supposed to be a serious allegation or not. Or this is supposed to be a, you know... Oh, look, haha, Keemstar's a fucking weird gooner, lol. Like, I literally don't understand what the point of this is. You also got to put on a blonde wig for some reason, which was bizarre. It's pretty embarrassing. Haven't had a chance to go through it all or see if there's quid pro quo. Since it's an ex-employee, which could be really bad. That's what's going on, though. Here's what Lynx had to say about the incident.
Think about what was going on. He then propositioned that if I worked really hard for the next few months and proved myself, that I would be able to come back. I don't know if that was like a manipulation thing or if he was serious. I don't know. There was a point where he said, at one point, we'll exchange fluids. This whole thing is a mess. Think about what was going on.
I mean, I didn't make a Discord announcement. No, thanks for reminding me. I mean, I'm a bit like, yeah, well, show the clip then. Show the quid pro quo, if that's what we're saying. You know? It's like people can't make up their mind whether this is a serious allegation or this is just laughing about Keemstar talking about glazing someone like a jelly donut. You know? I'm like, well, what is it supposed to be? How am I supposed to engage with this? And also, why is it a fucking 3.5 hour call? Like, I'm not listening to a fucking 3.5 hour call. Like, show me the clip that shows the like, particularly egregious behavior. Like, this just sounds like, you know, a sleaze bag mixing business and pleasure, as far as I can tell from what I've seen about this. It's in the vid. You mean the vid that's 3.5 hours long? Why not just show the clip? I mean, I'm not saying Shamu's done well to show a couple of clips from this, but like, you know, that's what you want to see. You just want to see the clip of the bad thing happening. I don't want to listen to a 3.5 hour phone call in order to try and fucking dig around to find misbehavior and bad behavior. You know, it's ridiculous. Like, make it a succinct thing of, here's the explicitly bad behavior that's occurring, and then maybe I'd be interested. It's like this as well. There's this document about this Black Gryphon person. And it's like, okay, so it tells me here what it is. Updated with 126 additional pages. And it's just, these things are getting so out of hand now, right? This is so ridiculous. You've literally got an entire fucking, what is this? What the fuck is this? You must distill the slot for me before I consume it. No, I'm saying I'm not that interested. I don't really care that much about it. But if you want me to take it seriously, put it in a format that I can actually meaningfully engage with. And not some ridiculous, overwrought, absurdly long video or whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. You know? I mean, I don't have to consume it in any way. I could just completely disregard it and it makes no difference to me. But if you're making a serious allegation, distill it down so it's actually got something that you can, you know, look at. Well, you can have both. You can have the full context, but you can also have, all right, here's the key points. Here's the key issues. Here's the key things that you need to know. It's just ridiculous. And I'm just getting a bit sick of it, to be honest. I'm getting a bit sick of these situations where you need to fucking, you know, do actual, like, academic research to understand what the fuck has happened here. You know? It's ridiculous. Yes, Stylo. Thanks. Stylo gets it, yes. It's Keemstar content. No one wants to suffer through something that's potentially total bullshit. Exactly. That's a really good way of putting it, yes. That's a great way of looking at it. You know, there's often times with Keemstar stuff where there's bullshit or phony stuff happening. And I already know that he's responded to it in one of his fucking Lolcar Live podcasts. So I'm sat here thinking, you know, is this actually legit? Or are you getting trolled sitting through a 3-hour call, you know, for no reason? Or is it someone that's trying to capitalize on the drama and is like misrepresenting it? Is it some sort of gay op? Yeah, I don't know. I literally don't fucking know what's going on. Keemstar doesn't want you to watch this one because he's trying to exploit a fetal alcohol syndrome woman certified retarded by the state. Wait, what? The shyness will be Krispy Kremed. Don't know, don't care. But yeah, I don't understand why people think I'm not connected to Keemstar. I mean, there's a group chat. People have got this thing about the Tea Party group chat, which I am in. Right? There's times where no one puts a message in there for weeks. There is no cabal. There is no commentary fucking, you know, community centralized where we all talk about stuff. Turkey Tom isn't even fucking streaming anymore. I don't even know what the fuck Turkey Tom's up to. Nicholas is obviously doing his own streams. Continuing his forever retard war with technicals. I saw that yesterday. Bo Blacks is obviously out of the house. Like, I can't remember where I saw this. I can't remember where I saw this exactly. But it's like, who is the cabal at this point? Papa Gut and Chris the Narc. Papa Gut and Chris the Narc are working together. I don't even know what Augie's doing. I got no fucking clue what Augie is up to. And I'm not like on bad terms with any of these people, as far as I understand it, you know? But it's like this narrative that there's some sort of like centralized thing and everyone's talking to Keemstar and Keemstar is giving everyone their marching orders. It's just absurd. And, you know, constantly there's people that are trying to make videos that push this like absurd narrative that there's some sort of centralized group that are discussing and planning and plotting, you know, different things that are happening. You know? Just gets a bit fucking boring. It's like, yeah, well, there's not. And that's it. There's nothing happening. You think there's all this shit happening, and there's just not. Nothing is happening, you know? Xylee. Yes, Stylo. Yes. Stylo gets it. Yes, exactly. It's a relic of a bygone era. Yes, exactly. I think a few years ago there was this kind of cabal. There were these commentary people that were working together, doing videos, etc. I mean, even that was overstated, but there was something more to it then. There was at least a group of people that were making similar content, that were in more regular communication, that would collaborate together more. The Goon Squad. Yeah, the Goon Squad. Yes, exactly. The Goon Squad. Lyric's got out. Lyric's is doing very well for himself. He's got like, you know, he's got loads of views on his new channel about music, hasn't he? But yeah, guys, unfortunately, as much as you're going to say, wow, that's what you would say, I'm telling you. Unless there's another layer of group chats that I was never invited to, where there is actually a cabal, and I've just not penetrated the shyness of those group chats yet. We will never know. We will never know, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I don't really know what to make of this. My gut instinct with this particular woman, the fact that she recorded these calls, I don't feel like anything particularly bad happened here, beyond Keemstar being a total sleaze fuck. I'm not sure if it's quite as egregious as some people want it to be. Because she's like participating in the call. Why is she recording it as well? That's bizarre. You know? And the probably best you'll see of it are like funny clips. Funny clips of Keemstar talking about glazing her like a donut and shit like that. But there we go. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Anne Underground. Is that a reference to Aiden Underground? Keep sweeping for yourself, buddy. The cabal is doomed soon. She was recording to masturbate to it later. Okay, dude. I like you do. It is just kind of insane that it's like, oh yeah, look at all these embarrassing calls. But like I say, could be some sort of meme or some sort of thing. I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure they did a LolCow Live episode about it, you know? So we'll see. We'll see if anything kicks up off of it. Okay, let's do some politics spurging before we get into it today, okay? So I talked a bit about this the day before yesterday, right? So let's have a quick look at this before we get into the Karl stuff. So just, if those of you that don't know, in the UK, our Supreme Court determined and decided that in our legislation, like the Equality Act, the term woman refers to a biological woman. And prior to this, there's been a bit of uncertainty about that discrepancy. And in fact, there's a guy that explained it perfectly one time to me, Alpha Patri. That guy that made a really funny video about Sophie on Mars. Or from Mars, I should say. And it was basically the gender recognition certificates created a complexity when it comes to assessing the Equality Act. Because when the Equality Act talks about a woman, does it mean a woman as in someone that has a marker of female on a certificate off the back of a gender recognition thing? Or do you mean a biological woman? And for a while, it's kind of been up in the air. And obviously, as trans people have pushed for more kind of acceptance, arguably to an extreme in some cases, in terms of, you know, arguing they're actually biological women or unironically, without question, women, there's no discrepancy, there's no difference, etc. you know, it's kind of brought the issue to a head. And it's led to this landmark ruling where the UK Supreme Court has said, in legislation like the Equality Act, when it says woman, that means biological woman. And what that then means is that if you're a trans woman, you're not automatically entitled necessarily to the same protections that a normal woman would get. And as far as I understand it, you exist in a sort of distinct category. You still have your own protection for being transgender, but you don't automatically inherit the same rights and privileges of a biological woman. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. Do you think this is good? Yeah. Well, I think it's not about whether it's good or not. It's like more. It's correct. It's like the correct. I think it's the correct thing. Because I don't think that a trans woman is tantamount and similar is the same as like a biological woman. Like, you've got women and you've got trans women, right? And that is a distinctive category. They are males who have got a psychological condition which makes them think that they're a woman, and they take steps to try and look, present, and be a woman in society. But they're not actually fundamentally a woman. Like, I mean, it's funny because when I was like a progressive, right? That was like such a verboten thing to think about or say. And obviously over time, I've you know, I have probably moved more towards a more gender critical perspective. Without accepting all the cruelty and stuff, I do think that, yeah, like, sex does matter, and male and female is important, and it's totally reasonable that you have a distinction between male and female, while still respecting the rights and not, you know, oppressing trans people. And they played a very clever game, and they created a very great dynamic for them, where just questioning that concept, or questioning that, or saying, I think sex is important, and I think there should be, you became some sort of bigot for questioning that. And it's like, I don't think you're a bigot for going, well, I think that sex is distinctive and important and we should recognise that, you know? What does this have to do with Jobst? Nothing. This has got literally nothing to do with Karl Jobst. Just for those of you that don't know, normally the first hour of my stream is political spurging, and I don't get to the main topic until about an hour into my stream, when I reach my peak viewership. So if you're just here for the job stuff, come back in 35 minutes and I'll probably be on it then.
Unanimous decision of this court is that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex.
A pivotal moment in a land...
Loud dykes, shut up, loud bloody dykes. I don't think this is oppression. I don't know. It's not segregation or oppression. Like, well, okay, it is segregation, but it's correct segregation. It's correct segregation. Because a trans woman is not the same as a cisgender biological woman.
Mark case. Joy and relief from campaigners in Edinburgh. And outside the Supreme Court in London too. They've won their battle over the legal definition of what a woman is.
Okay, I mean, I've got to be honest with you. Like they say, you can always tell. I mean, some of these butch lesbians, you know, it could go either way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they're biological women, but you look at them and you're like, ooh, very masculine features on this one, not sure.
Counsel against reading this judgment as a triumph of one or more groups in our society at the expense of another. It is not.
But it is a significant defeat for the Scottish Government, who argued transgender people with a gender recognition certificate should have the same sex-based protections as biological women, a ruling which could...
Oh, hey, Mary Chu. Okay, dude. Thank you for the super chat. Jeez. Most of these lesbians would have been trans if they were born 30 years later.
...to place greater restrictions on trans people in Scotland, England and Wales.
It means that women's spaces are finally secure. We can restore that in our public sector organisations, so all hospital wards, all changing rooms, they will all be women only.
I can't be any more delighted. Excuse the tears. It's brilliant news. Lesbians can actually have places of our own.
The noise around gender identity in Scotland has been deafening in the wake of Nicola Sturgeon's attempts to push forward reforms before she stepped down as First Minister.
Do you think this ruling...
I mean, I do understand the woman's perspective, right? It's like, you are lesbians and you've been told your whole fucking life, well, if you just suck enough cock, maybe you'll be able to be straight, right? And then that you finally get over that part of it. But then it's like, right, now there's trans people, and actually, you might like trans cock if you just try it. Give it a little suckle and see what you think. You know, I do understand the concern and the problem. Like, there is this push or this dynamic of like, well, trans women are women too. And it's like, you know, that sentiment, I understand the reasoning for it and why you want people to be treated with respect and stuff like that. But then it gets to an extreme, and then it's like, well, trans women are women, and therefore, if you're a lesbian, you should be happy being in a relationship with this woman. But they're not women in the same way, are they? They got a fucking dick. And obviously they're not into dick. And you have people who are pushing this narrative. And at first it was these extremists online, but it became more prominent of like, you know, if you don't have a relationship with a trans woman as a lesbian, you are some sort of bigot. Not all trans people have a penis. Okay, what has that got to do with what I said? What the fuck has that got to do with what I said? And secondly, okay, even if they haven't got a penis and they've had some sort of surgery, that is not a normal vagina, okay? That is a simulacrum of a vagina that medical science has twisted a penis to look like a vagina.
Okay, that's
it's not the same thing, is it?
And
you can still have a problem with that too, can't you?
It would be so funny if they ban lesbians next.
Thank you for the super chat. Who is forcing the lesbians to date trans women? Okay, do you understand what social pressure is? I'm not saying that anyone is being forced at the barrel of a gun. I'm saying that there has been social pressure from trans advocate movements, particularly online, to push this idea that a trans woman is a woman and a trans woman's penis is a female penis or a woman's penis, and therefore to copulate with them as a lesbian act. And some people don't like that and disagree. Oh my god, someone's called Black Shitto, and they've got the profile picture of that Sean guy. Tell that to the Olympics, Chud.
Fierce debate in Scotland to bed.
No, because the people that were arguing the other way feel as passionately as we do.
At these London celebrations...
Bro, it's so funny when people are like, what movements, Chud? What movements? This complete denial. This total denial that there has unquestionably been social pressure exerted by certain parts of the trans advocacy movement, particularly the online more extreme advocates of that, to push this narrative and push this talking point. Okay? And even beyond that, just think about the basic premise of what you're laying out and the logical conclusions of that. Okay? You are saying that a trans woman is a woman, right? I want names of the movements. Okay. Well, you're not going to get that, and you've annoyed me multiple times, so you're getting banned from chat because you're fucking annoying and retarded, okay? There is no name of the movement that I can give you. There is no movement. There is no, like, you know, oh, this particular movement. I'm talking broadly about social pressure that exists that comes from the trans advocacy movement, particularly online. It's unquestionable this has happened, and then you go, what movement? What name? What's the name of this movement, Chud?
Inverted bagpipes again. Scotland.
We get it, Chud. You must appease your audience of Chuds. Okay, another person that's getting banned. Damn. Not a good start, chats. Not a good start with the level of retardation that we're seeing already. These are my opinions and perspectives. They're nothing to do with appeasing my chat, okay? There's plenty of times, just look at yesterday's stream, for example, where I will say things that are contradictory to chat and will argue about it, okay? This isn't about appeasing chat. This is about my genuine perspective on this topic.
How do I make money off depressed people?
Though a note of dissent.
Trans rights are human rights. For now!
The Equality Act still gives transgender people protection against discrimination, but there is concern in the community about what comes next.
I'm absolutely gutted by today's ruling. I think it undoes 20 years of understanding that if a transgender person with a gender recognition certificate has obtained that GRC, that they are for almost all legal intents and purposes there.
But I remember why I went more right-wing in the past. These women cheering are bringing back my past anger.
Thank you for the super chats. Also, it's very interesting how progressives will disregard and ignore the perspective of minorities when it suits them, right? And there are groups of lesbians who have talked about this and said that their perspective, their lived experience, is that they feel this social pressure acutely in the dating scene, and there's issues with it, and they just ignore that and go, oh, well, they're just fucking Nazi turf fascists. No, they've got a legitimate concern, and, you know, I think it's worthy of some consideration. I also think that trans people have got legitimate concerns that are worthy of consideration, right? Like, you know, obviously there's points where it clashes with the women's rights thing, but I don't think you should be able to fire someone because they're transgender, for example, right? I don't think transgender people should be subjected to, you know, offensive bigotry in the workplace on the basis of their, you know, identity. So it's not like I'm saying trans people are left out in the cold. I'm just saying that, you know, there have been clashes with certain women's rights aspects, and, you know, trans advocate supporters and stuff will completely just deny reality and act like it's not a thing and be like, what do you mean, Chud? No, that's not happening. No one is putting social pressure on lesbians to, you know, be in relationships with transgendered individuals. Yeah, exactly. You know, there is undeniably clashes, and then, you know, I'm not even saying that I completely agree with some of the perspectives that are like, you know, oh, well, if you're a trans person, you can't use a woman's toilet. Like, I think some of these the consequences of advocating these policies are going to be complicated to deal with, right? I'm not saying that, you know, if you're like a passing trans person, you got to go into the men's toilet. Like, that would probably be more, you know, confusing. Do you know what I mean? But you need to find a way to have it so that you don't have this issue where you've got people who are... I mean, I don't even buy into this narrative. I'm not 100% on board with this narrative that trans people are like walking into toilets and raping women. Like, that seems absurd to me, and that's rooted in some sort of biological essentialism about males, which I think is stupid. But I also do understand that, you know, a woman is going to be concerned if some fucking fella in a frock, right, walks into the toilet, and that's going to be unnerving and disturbing. And how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? How do you contend with that, you know? And there is some sort of complicated issues that you need to kind of figure out with this. So I'm not completely on board with like certain, you know, it's not like I'm like, yeah, fuck trans people, they can't do this, they can't do that. You know, I'm sympathetic to some of the issues and concerns. It's just, there has unquestionably been this insane push beyond what is reasonable, beyond, you know, what the kind of situation used to be. There probably could have been a step forward in regards to some of these topics, but it's gone to this insane point where it's not just, you know, there's transsexuals. It's no, trans women are women. Trans women are women. Unquestionably, that's it. You can't question that, and if you do, you're some sort of bigot or transphobe. Ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Acquired gender. It feels like the UK is an increasingly scary place to be openly trans, and I think that this ruling is only going to make that worse.
I just remind the House that the right honourable gentleman struggled to define what a woman was.
For years, it has been an uncomfortable issue for Keir Starmer and his party. The government welcomed
the trans passing agency where they hang out passes.
Thank you for the super chats.
Today's ruling.
I think what it does do is give clarity to women and service providers. And obviously, more widely, single-sex spaces are protected in the law, and they will remain protected under...
Yes, Glungus. Glungus is speaking sense, right? Glungus is speaking some sense here. Trans women, through mutual respect, can be engaged with respectfully. They will never be biologically female. They shouldn't be debatable. Right? Why is that such a hard concept for people to fucking grasp?
This government.
Speaking on a podcast this afternoon, Scotland's First Minister accepted the outcome.
Do you think that on behalf of the Scottish Government you owe women an apology?
We've acted in good faith on this question. We've tried to navigate our way through 2 pieces of legislation, and during which, of course, our position has been supported twice by courts in Scotland in this particular case. So the debate has been around very uncertain areas of definition, and the Supreme Court has concluded on that, and that's an end to the matter.
But politically and practically,
this is fucking. I hate. They even said, right? Don't see this as like a win for either side, right? They were keen to point out, don't see this as a win, and they were treating it like a fucking football match, man. Yeah, woo! Like, this is just, it's a bit crass, isn't it? It's a bit fucking crass.
Ramifications of this ruling will need to be assessed long after the singing.
Bro, Scottish women.
This political hour to watch with my grandma? Wow.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for the super chat. Scottish lesbians, the worst kind of lesbians.
Jobst.
Well, we can talk now to the gender-critical activist Maya Forstater, who won a legal battle after being let go by her employer after she stated in social media messages that transgender women are men. And Samantha Kane is a transgender barrister who joins us from the Highlands of Scotland.
Yes!
Maya Forstater first.
Bro, this is my favourite part where they're like, right, normal woman 2.0, fight. Let's fucking go.
Victory for common sense, or is it a licence to vilify trans people?
It is a victory for common sense, and it's a victory for women's rights.
Wait a second. Oh, but it's not crass when trans are doing the exact thing. I think you're being a bit silly if you think that I am, someone who is supportive of the insane trans stuff that's happened. I have repeatedly criticised the extremities of trans activism, such as when they fucking shut that person in a room in a school. Or when I was watching the Alpha at the Tree video and they were fucking hollering at gender-critical people in a park.
Calling someone a man or a woman is not vilifying them. It's just describing them accurately. And you need to be able to describe people accurately in order to keep them safe and in order to protect other people's rights. So even talking about it in terms of vilification is wrong. Everybody is born male or female, and that cannot change. And that doesn't mean that they have to live their life according to gender stereotypes. But
already look trans. I don't see the problem in it.
Thank you for the super chats. Thank you. That's very true. Anyway, dude, oh my god, this topic brings up so many memories for me, right? Because when I was like more in with the progressives, okay, I honestly think that they painted gender critical people as these crazed, rabid, Nazi fascist turfs because they didn't want you to listen to them. And listen, there is some cruelty. I'm not saying that all of them are nice people. I'm not saying that all of them are super nice about trans people, right? But when you listen to some of the core arguments, it's actually quite difficult to, in good faith disagree with what they're saying. Because you listen to it and you're like, well, yeah, like I do see where I see where you're coming from. I do agree that male and female is important. I do agree that you do have some legitimate issues and concerns, and it's not all just rabid transphobia and you hate trans people. You have developed this time creating this carved out space for women in society because of the risks associated with being a woman in society, and then all of a sudden, all these trans people are like, can we come in, please? Oh, no, this is for women. Oh, but we're women, actually. And there's the push. They are abrasive, though, especially on social media. Yeah, of course. And then you get the allies, people like Graham Linehan, that are just totally wretched. Graham Linehan is a total freak, man. He'll post these images, and it's like, oh, look at this trans porn star. Look at this trans male porn. And it's like, dude, I don't want to see that shit, bro. Why are you putting it on my fucking timeline? Very fucking odd thing that's going on there. It's too much, bro. I get it. Yeah, there's degenerate trans freaks doing weird shit. I don't want to see that, okay? As much as the jokes they say otherwise.
It does mean that they have to respect other people's rights and privacy.
Samantha Kane, the court has just given biological women back their basic rights.
Yes. Well, if I may jump into here, the issue here is that the ruling of today has already misinterpreted. It's not really for a court, with all respect to the Supreme Court, of course, is to define what's a man or what's a woman. They merely interpreted a very narrow aspect of the Equality Act. And in my view, this definition being taken out of context and indeed inflamed transphobia.
Oh my God, dude.
And other suffering of
oh, there's another queen later.
Marginalized group in society.
Right. Well, let me get you to answer that, Maya, that this has inflamed transphobia and a marginalised group is now more fearful than it was.
I don't think this has inflamed transphobia at all. The Equality Act protects people against discrimination and harassment. It protects everyone based on their sex, their age, disability, race, and what's called gender reassignment, so being trans. So everyone is still protected against discrimination and harassment at work, using a service, renting a flat, at university, at school, and so on. This is not about transphobia, it's about protecting women's rights, which means you have to know what a woman is. And one thing the Supreme Court said very clearly was that there's very little in common between the group of women, people who are female, born with female bodies, who can dress as they like, and they're not necessarily feminine archetypes, and men who wish to be feminine archetypes. It's an experience in life that a woman just can't have, of being a man who wishes he was a woman.
Yes,
so they're different groups.
Samantha.
Yeah, can I come in here? I'm afraid that's quite an unfair generalization. I mean, some of us, the pioneers in sex reassignments, when we underwent that many decades ago.
Dude, maybe I just have become a massive bigot over time. But I'm not even that bothered about what this person is saying. I can't really understand them, to be honest with you. But when I listen to the gender critical people now, I'm just like, well, yeah, I totally see where you're coming from. And there's some, like, progressive part of me that does feel, there's still some bleeding heart lefty that does feel a bit of like, oh, maybe that's a bit mean, to be so blunt about it. But that's just that's their perspective. That's their point of view. Do you know what I mean? And there has been this unreasonable push to act like these people are these fascist Nazi people, and they're just not. They just have got legitimate concerns. I'm going to find another one of these that's got better, you can actually understand what's being said, because this is fucking ridiculous. And plus Richard Madeley's on it. I watched a bit of this earlier. Good morning, Britain. Let's go. Where is it? Here, this is it here.
Transgender.
Perfect. Hey, Richard Madeley, based. Richard and Judy.
Transgender rights campaigners and advocates have urged people not to panic after years of debate about the legal definition of a woman concluded yesterday with a landmark.
He's looking for an uglier trans woman. Wrong. I'm looking for a more attractive trans woman, actually.
Supreme Court ruling, meaning that a woman in UK law refers to biological sex.
While judges say the concept of sex is binary, they say the ruling should not be seen as a triumph of one side over another, and transgender people still have legal protection from discrimination.
Private parts.
Well, as we've seen, campaigners celebrated almost wildly outside court yesterday, but trans rights advocates are concerned that the ruling could lead to the erasure of trans identities.
But how will this law change affect trans women? Here to discuss is Married at First Sight contestant and trans woman Ella Morgan, and also journalist Daisy McAndrew. Good morning to both of you.
Yes,
Thank you for coming
I thought I
in
recognised
this
her from
morning
somewhere.
to talk about.
I thought I recognised her. Yes, I actually watched some of those episodes with her in, and basically it was like, because Married at First Sight, the idea is you got two people that turn up and get married at first sight. They don't know each other, never met before, and they just get married. And then one of them, to throw a bit of a curveball in there, they had a trans turn up and be like, they'd be like, oh, you're marrying me. So yeah, I recognise her.
About this. Ella, how are you feeling this morning at this ruling?
Do you know what? As a voice for the trans community, since I've been in the public eye, I've always seen the good in everything, and I've always been very positive. And I hate to say this, but for the first time since I've had that title, I actually.
Also, that reminds me as well. I think I've spoken about this before. I think I watched it on stream. There was this show many years ago called There's Something About Miriam, right? And it was an old show, and the idea was it was like The Bachelor. Well, it was kind of like The Bachelor in some ways, you could argue. But what basically happened was you had a trans woman, and they were the prize. If you won the show, you got to go on a date with them or whatever, right? And the secret was that they were a trans person, but they didn't let any of the guys know. So all of the guys were going out, kissing them, dating them, whatever, doing the show, not knowing that they were a trans person. And then at the end, they reveal it, right? And at the time, it was like, oh, look at that, lol, funny. But this documentary, look back on it, was actually pretty fucked up for all parties involved, right? And at the end of the show, they tell them, and it's palpable how grossed out and how, like, horrified the contestants are about it, you know? And the documentary goes in that apparently this Miriam person ended up killing themselves or something. Haha, very funny joke, 41% or whatever. But, you know, the point was that it was putting them in a very difficult position and putting them in a public eye in this way. And, yeah, it just kind of fucked them up, you know? Fucked up situation.
You do feel nervous.
Where's
and
the
scared,
revelation?
but not only for myself, but for the community, because it's the unknown. I think there's a lot that has been said that there's not clarity. There's not, we're not sure exactly what is going to happen in terms of passports, toilets, gym change rooms. There's so many things logistically that need to be discussed. And then to have the headline that, the definition of a woman is biological sex, makes me feel, and trans people feel, as though we're defined as a man. I'm essentially a man in a lot of people's eyes, and legally, potentially now on paper, I could be, and that's scary.
So the devil's in the detail, isn't it now? Now we know what the law is now, and that's absolutely crystal. But how is it going to be applied? So let's just say, for example, this afternoon you start feeling a bit poorly, and you go along to the doctor, and he says, I think you've got appendicitis. And you're rushed into hospital with a developing case of appendicitis. Where would you expect to wake up after the operation? Which ward, the men's ward or the women's ward?
So it's funny you should say that. When I was filming Celebs Go Dating last year, we were in the middle of filming and I was admitted into hospital for a problem. And I was so scared that they would know who I am, not being beheaded, and that they would put me in a male ward. And I was put on a female ward, but I had my own room purely because there wasn't enough space for me with.
But you might have been in a group.
Yes. And I would go to I will still continue to use a female toilet. I still.
Bro, that's the man that went to a plastic surgery with a picture of Miley Cyrus. You guys are too mean. You guys are well out of order.
Still see myself as a woman and always will. Whether this legislation comes in and people agree with it or not, I still see myself as a woman, whether it's on paper or not.
What
and
do you
I'll
think,
use
Daisy?
a woman's.
Supposing, looking the way she looks here this morning, she were to wake up on a men's ward, what do you think the men might think?
Well, I think, firstly, it's not about what the men think, it's about what Ella would think, and it would clearly be very distressing for Ella. And I have huge sympathy for Ella and the trans community this morning as they digest this interpretation of the law.
See,
and as Lord...
I'm assuming this person is some sort of gender critical. This is the kind of gender critical stuff that I'm more on board with, right? I don't like the kind of, the cruelty aspect of it. I don't like, don't get me wrong, on the internet, if you want to be a shit or whatever. But I think if you're like a public figure talking about this, you don't have to give up on your principles or something like that. But I think you do just need to be a bit more, you know, a bit more empathetic. You know, that I think is a better way of approaching it than you get some of these people on the internet that are like, they're just obviously vicious and cruel. And I understand some of them have been hurt and whatever, I get it. But like, this is a much better approach to the topic, I think, than some of the other approaches that you see.
Chud said he doesn't want it to be triumphalist on either side, and I didn't like the pictures of people on my side popping champagne bottles and so on, because I don't think that's the way to go ahead. I do think politicians have been completely lily-livered about this whole issue for years and years now, and created a situation that then needed the courts to rule instead of Parliament. It actually should have been Parliament sorting this out.
So how did you feel yesterday, as someone who's written a great deal about this subject, calling for this?
That's also true as well, by the way. You know, and Labour in particular have been very poor on this.
How do I make money off depressed people?
When you can get invited onto this show, when I transition. All right, Richard, I'm Barbara.
Well, it's happened now. If you didn't feel victorious, what did you feel?
A certain sense of relief that maybe we can move forward now. And obviously, you're right to say there are now a whole number of unintended or intended consequences that need to be sorted out. So this isn't the end of the issue, because yes, it has reinforced women's position, but it has changed trans women's positions and trans men. So we need to work through that. But there are such big issues here. And what's happened as politicians got so terrified of being cancelled on this issue, and I'm afraid from people in our industry who have also acted badly, the whole gotcha, you know, saying to politicians all the time, what is a man and can a woman have a penis? It all became such an issue.
Oh God, this person is so based. This person is just bang on the money with this stuff. They are so bang on the money in terms of their perspective on this. It's true. It's so true that it became this stupid political gotcha talking point. A gotcha, if you will. Good one, Dickers. Thank you for that. Rather than like a serious conversation, and it put politicians in positions where it felt very difficult to be able to move forward with this, you know? Yeah, exactly. They made it impossible to have constructive debates. Yes, exactly. You know? And also the extremes on both sides of it contributed to that too, you know? There are definitely, you know, trans people that were very, like, resolute and not willing and not flexible. And then you've got the other side of it, these gender critical, cruel-led people doing it. But this is actually a lot more valuable, I think, this approach.
Politicians were paralysed by their fear of being cancelled, and so just pushed the issue away instead of dealing with women in sport, women in prisons, you know, women in hospitals, all these issues that really needed to be sorted out. And I think that's where we ended up. And that, in turn, meant that bad men were using the situation for their own, and by that I mean men pretending to be trans.
Who are not trans.
And Ella, that has been an issue, hasn't it? And do you think that's been damaging, actually?
It has, because we make up less than 1% of the population.
Wow, she's agreed as well.
And I just feel because of one person or a few people, a very small minority, this is now given us consequences.
Who identified as a woman and wanted to be put in a woman.
Yes, that has now affected all of us because of a few people doing a few bad things who are not trans. We are now the ones suffering, and it affects us. Do you see what I mean?
I completely agree, but the situation had created... There was so much publicity around the situation, and I think, you know, these bad players, bad actors, thought, here's an opportunity for me to do something, and nobody will have the courage to say, you are not a trans woman, you're a man in a skirt pretending to be a trans woman, because everybody was worried about being cancelled. We got into that situation.
Dude, it does feel like over time, it's almost like they're having a laugh with it. Okay? And they present an ever-increasing absurd array of women, and you're not allowed to question that. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, these ones that have gone through some sort of procedure, okay, right, we've got those ones done. How about a guy that is just wearing a dress? How about that? Okay, okay, well, people are a bit afraid to question that. I tell you what, do the same thing again, make them more muscular and masculine, and give them a beard, and let them chew on that for a bit. And then you show them, okay, that they seem to be having trouble questioning that as well. And you get to the point where you got some hulking freak that obviously is just some guy that's put a dress on, that's grown their hair out. And if you question it, you're bigoted. But it's obvious, clearly fucking absurd. And then you say, okay, well, this is a bit silly. I don't think this person is, like, legitimately trying to present and be a trans person. Oh, but you don't understand. People find it hard to transition. Don't be bigoted. Yeah, they got a beard.
Okay,
maybe they
that's
can't
wonderful.
afford razors.
How do I make money off depressed people?
Below Black is the best example of this.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, exactly. Imagine Bo Blacks. Now, fortunately, Bo Blacks happened at a time when the swing back had occurred and people were more willing to question it. But, you know, Bo Blacks doing that in 2020, dude, could be a different ballpark altogether.
It's a conundrum that we're never actually going to quite solve, in the sense that obviously women have rights. I'm married to a feminist. I've been a proponent of women's rights all my adult life. But clearly, trans women have rights too. But somehow there seems to be a difficulty in drawing the line.
Yeah.
Because, for example, you know, we know that a lot of women feel either threatened or embarrassed by the very notion, even if it doesn't actually happen to them, but by the very notion of having a trans woman in their midst in a changing room. We know that they feel uncomfortable and they feel they have the right not to have that imposed on them. You, on the other hand, would feel extremely awkward if you woke up on a male ward after an operation. Drawing that line, working it out, is going to be really tough, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And people have said to me, why don't you use a disabled toilet? And I'm not disabled, so why would I use a disabled toilet? I go to the gym and I use obviously the female changing rooms. Nobody has ever had any issues with me. And actually, most of my friends, my very close friends, are actually cis women. And I've asked them more openly, because I'm very open-minded. I know, you know, this could have become a debate, but I'm never, and most trans people should never feel they have to justify their existence or debate our existence and who we are. But all of my cis friends have said, we've never felt threatened by you, Ella, in your company, but we've been threatened by men.
Yeah.
So,
but there will be ways to work through this. You know, I was in a Primark changing room a couple of days ago, and there were female changing rooms to the left, and pretty much everyone, you know, and you know, men and women.
Cope for it. You guys are just you're too extreme. Okay, just relax a little bit. Okay, like this is fine. This is fine. I understand that, you know, this trans person saying stuff that you're a bit like, oh, I'm not sure about that. But I mean, this is pretty reasonable, I think.
All genders to the right, but it was individual cubicles, obviously. So I went to the right because the queue was smaller. I felt perfectly safe, but you know, could have been trans women, trans men, you know, alongside the cubicles.
Yeah.
But the women, if they were concerned, could make sure they went to...
So there's a choice to be made there. I mean, I think, you know, one of the things is, isn't it, that organisations, hospitals, prisons, businesses, everybody's going to be looking at their policies now, aren't they, to see if changes need to be made, to see what this means, to see how they can find solutions to it. Ella, I think, what would your message be then when they're looking at how this works in practice?
I think women...
No, that's not fine. This is a man, and one shall not entertain their delusions or lesbian... Okay, you people are so obnoxious. You're like the people that complain when there's like a feminine-looking person and you say she, and you're like, no, Chud, you're not using the correct pronouns, actually. It's so funny how you get this distinction between, like, the pronouns, and it is literal fucking horseshoe. It's a literal horseshoe theory where each side will fucking chastise you for using the wrong pronouns from their perspective. So irritating.
I'm all here for, you know, I have an amazing mum, I have women in my family. I'm all for protecting women and their rights. I'm not here to take away anybody's rights. I just want to acknowledge that I am an equal and I also have rights. And women have fought so many years for being able to vote and so many other rules and legislations that it now feels like they're turning that on us and we now have to deal with that struggle. And it's like, women have had to fight for...
I mean, you can vote. What? Bro, you're a male. You can vote all you fucking want. What are you on about?
So long, and now you're happy to watch us and celebrate and drink champagne at this ruling, knowing that we have to now go through that struggle.
Can I ask you a psychological question?
Yes.
Do you feel any differently up here this morning, less than 24 hours after this ruling? Because you know that in a given situation, a legal situation...
Trans suffrage.
You could be
Let us vote.
opposite a judge. Or indeed anybody, but let's just say a judge, who would look at you and say, I'm very sorry to tell you, but legally, you're a man. You're not a woman. That could now be said legally. How does that leave you feeling?
But Richard, I'm not being silly. I know biologically I am male. I'm not taking that away. I am a woman in my eyes. I am a trans woman. I'm a woman who happens to be trans. But I'm not saying I'm not biologically, you know, a female, because I'm not.
Wow. Wow. Isn't it interesting how the trans people that tend to have like better views on this stuff tend to recognise their own biological reality, and it's the ones that are hopped up on insane gender ideology fucking slop that claim they're biologically female and actually they should be treated as such, and they're the ones that have got the shitter views normally.
I acknowledge that, but I just feel if I was to stand in front of a judge now and be told, okay, you know, you are this, and then told I have to go to a male hospital or a male prison, God forbid I ever go to prison, what about my safety? Where does the safety then come in for trans people? So you're okay.
So this is where I would agree with this, right? Like, if she got put in a male prison, okay,
Okay, that's wonderful.
I mean, I don't want to make like lots of crass jokes about you know what, but I mean, dude, you can understand. You should be like fucking, you know, lamb to the slaughter.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. On a real note, I agree the cruelty is too much. Also, index pointing at the viewer emoji. Index pointing at the viewer emoji.
Thank you for the super chat. Okay, dude. Dude, it would be fucked. It would be fucked. And I think, you know, this is where you need to be realistic about this and understand that there is a point where someone's presentation, it does create an issue where it's not as simple as just stuff them in the male prison, because that then does legitimately create risks for them. Then don't break the law. Yeah. What a worthless don't break the law then. Well, obviously not, no. But what if that happens and then they're in that situation? Well, what do you do then? This is too much pandering. So you would have this person get chucked into a male prison like a piece of meat, essentially, and then you just be like, whatever. Like, no, I think we probably need to work a bit harder to find a better solution than that. You know?
This is what I meant about the line.
What if I get raped or molested or assaulted because of being put in that position? Where am I right?
Don't forget, it is illegal to discriminate against trans people. That is enshrined in law. You know, trans people are protected by the law.
It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
But of course, what we've got now is a situation where now people will have to work out what the line is. And on things like NHS, there has been an absolute muddle there, because when you change gender, you know, when you get the certificate, your NHS number gets changed. Yeah. So the system can't find whether you are born a biological male or female.
So there's a lot of catching up.
There's a lot of
that needs to
catching up to do, and joined up thinking.
You say that it is absolutely not allowed to discriminate against a trans woman, but if she were to wake up on a male ward, would that be discrimination?
Well, that's the big question, and I agree. We need to work these things out, and people just haven't had the courage to think these things through for the last few years.
Well, listen, thank you
both very much indeed. That's really interesting.
Yeah, we will be talking about this.
That was actually quite a nice conversation.
And it was nice to have it not as a debate, but as a discussion.
Listen, we've all got our opinions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's really nice. That's nice.
Well, we'll be discussing this obviously with the Minister of the Day, who'll be joining us at 8:30.
Okay, no pigeon. Thank you for the sub, dude.
Scoobs became a member.
That's lovely. I think that's what we need more of. God, you people are you're such hateful creeps, the lot of you, aren't you? The lot of you. Okay, anyway, don't worry, guys. Before we listen, I'm a bit over what I said I was going to be, but I've got to show you this. If you haven't seen this, hopefully I don't get clapped for this. It's only like 10 minutes or so. Hopefully it's okay. You've got to see this. So this is something about Miriam, and this is like the moment they reveal that this dating show they've been doing is with a trans woman.
Series depended on the drama of that moment.
Obviously, this is a documentary.
Everybody on the crew, the production staff, we all just felt like this kind of sense of trepidation.
There was a potential shitstorm ahead, for sure.
Something's going to happen. I know, mate. You know it as well. Yes, what you signed for, you signed for anything to happen at any time. Something will happen.
There were a number of staff who chose not to be too close, myself included. The boys trusted me, and I didn't want to be that person, you know, that had duped them.
We thought the TV show was done and dusted. They suddenly came to us out of the blue to say, we're going to take you back to the TV show.
Bro.
When we got back to
the whole thing, look at the toll it's taken on this guy's hairline. Holy fuck.
Say, we're going to take you back to the TV show.
This man lost his hair over this.
Back to the villa, we saw some unfamiliar faces
They're big, tall guys.
So I suddenly clocked one in the left, one in the balcony corner, one in the wall, two behind us. We've been working with the crew for ages and suddenly thought, there's a lot of extra people and they're bigger people.
And they're just going to be helping us out with the equipment when...
Wait, so are we saying that they brought in extra security just in case the guys kicked off when they found out what had happened? They needed some muscle so that if the guys kicked off, they could, like, control them. That is fucking horrendous, dude.
Later we found out they were bouncers that had been hired.
Oh my God, dude.
We were huddled in the sort of the kitchen stroke lounge area and then we all kind of marched out in the front to be filmed.
It was quite nerve-wracking. Everything we had done, it had all been building to this.
Oh, they've all lost their hair.
Welcome back, guys. Tom, Scott, congratulations, you've made it to the very end. One of you will be offered the trip of a lifetime with Miriam and £10,000.
Wow.
Well, I'm going to put you out of your misery and ask Miriam to announce the winner.
Tom, you're funny, you're hilarious, and you always make me happy. Scott, you're brilliant, fantastic, and honest. But we all know one of you has to be the winner. And the winner is... Tom, you're the winner!
Way! Go on, lad, let's go! Way!
You know, we could kind of exhale a bit, go, right, you know, we'd had so much fun filming it all, and we thought that was going to be it. Of course it wasn't.
You're so fucked, bro.
Congratulations. How do you feel?
Yeah, brilliant, fantastic, amazing, great.
Well, before you claim the prize, Miriam has something to say.
There's a little extra.
I tried to be honest with all of you as much as I can. Yes.
Well, this is obviously the whole point of the documentary is this Miriam person ended up killing themselves. And it was talking about how the guys got fucked over too. So it's supposed to be like, you know, it's the horrificness of it. It was horrific. It was fucking horrific. You know, but at the time, I remember when it went out. It was just like, you know, any other reality show with a little twist. It was like a reality show with a little twist, you know? That was it.
I'm from Mexico. I'm a model. And I'm 21. But, Tom, I really love spending time with you and kissing you.
Kissing you?
You see, I love men. And I love being a woman. But I'm not a woman.
I knew it.
I was born as a man.
What the fuck, dude? It's so ridiculous.
As soon as she said, I am not a woman, all the boys started to laugh. And that's when I thought, shit. But they weren't her words. Miriam's final rule was written, that was scripted. I overheard a conversation about how they would work. But she said them, so they become her words. You know, I was born a man, is what she said. So they immediately thought, I've just fancied a man.
Oh no.
It was so incredibly uncomfortable. It felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room, and Tom just starts gasping. And as he's doing that, he's looking around at everybody all around him, all the crew, the production staff, and just realising the level of deceit.
Jesus.
Is there anything you'd like to ask Miriam, Tom?
Have you got a cock?
Well, I'm obviously shocked, as you can guess, so I don't know, really. I'm kind of lost for words, for once.
Lol. Great show, guys.
Well, it's a big shock. But it's a shot that still needs a decision. As I've
Immediately pressuring him to make a fucking decision about this. Oh my god. Will you suck the gok or not?
said, there is a boat in the bay for you and Miriam with £10,000 on board. Miriam's waiting for an answer. Are you going to go? Yeah, I'll go. Of course, yeah. You know, we're all good friends here. And give him a round of applause, guys.
Fuck it,
How do I make money off the
He just has a little cool kiss on the cheek.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off the
Right.
Isn't this then consensual rape / something?
Oh yeah, there's
I
a
know.
when we there's a little extra bit to the story. Yeah, we'll get to that. Bro, if that was me, I'll be like, oh what? Oh no. Anyway, we need to. Yep, definitely. Let's go. Come on, let's get on with it.
It was the very nature of this kind of pack mentality of lad.
Like, I was born a man. Oh no. And you've got a cock and balls, have you? Yes. Oh. No. There's 10 grand in the boat. Is that for me? You're going to pay me 10 grand? Okay, yeah, sure. Oh God, tough decision. I got to be honest, but I think I'll do it. I think I'll go with it. Give it a go.
Kind of shaming each other that just made everything go totally wrong.
Just very shocked. And I wouldn't want to spend a week on a boat with someone I couldn't trust. Someone who's deceived me and everybody in the house. I was honest when I was in that house. Everybody was honest, and they were all just being ourselves. And he wasn't. He was lying to everybody, and he doesn't have that right. And no one has that right.
I don't think it's fair. You can't screw if it's fair.
It would have been nice to have the money, but I wouldn't want a second more with her. I don't respect her one bit.
Oh, respectful, respecting identity at least.
There's a tidal wave of emotion. At 1 minute you're consoling Tom and Scott. The next you're thinking, oh my goodness, how long have I been in this show? What have I done? It was spiralling out of control.
What have I done? What have I done? Oh my God, dude.
You could see the anger and the whole emotion in Scott's face, the red eyes and the mist. And Scott just went berserk. Absolutely lost it.
Huh?
And I remember the director jumping over the corner of the swimming pool, chased by Scott. And I felt sorry for anybody behind one of his punches.
What is punching people?
It was an utter fucking shit show.
Right.
That's when the penny dropped with Remy. You could
Pour me on a stupid reality TV show. A reality TV show that has facilitated you being sexually abused. I mean, yeah, of course. Bro, this is sexual abuse. Unquestionably sexual abuse, dude.
You just see him going, oh, shit. And I was like, Remy, make yourself scarce, because they're going to kill you.
It's horrible. It's horrendous.
I went back to the hotel and was shaking from the experience. I didn't know if they were going to punch me or attack me. I wasn't out to hurt anyone's feelings. No one in the crew will talk to me. They were all my friends during the filming, and now they don't want to know me.
Anissa's bold gash. Chud Logic, it's funny, to be honest. I mean, if you find it funny, I mean, obviously I'm laughing, but it's because of how horrific it is. It is just such an insane thing that happened. And at the time, it was just like any other reality TV show. But now looking back, you're like, oh yeah, that was pretty fucking bad, wasn't it?
I feel really upset and alone.
The last thing I wanted to do was a show that poked fun at her. Having cast the contributors so carefully led me to believe that they would accept her story with the empathy I felt, but they didn't. And part of that was my fault as well, because we brought all the contributors together. And in the end, it became about the men feeling that somehow their masculinity had been called into question by the fact that they had been...
Like a bunch of like mid-2000s lads on the equivalent of an 1830s holiday you want empathy from. What a delusion do you have? This is like arty-farty academic retardation. Thinking a bunch of fucking lads are going to be empathetic towards a situation and not feel like a total embarrassed queer when this happens. Like, yeah, exactly. You wanted the drama and the ratings. Give me a fucking break, dude.
Attracted to...
Yeah, Also, yeah, good point. Blumenfeld.
A woman who was trans.
I went into this room to talk to the boys. Alan wasn't as upset as...
This documentary seems like government-funded PR to make it seem worse for the trans person. You're injecting that yourself. This documentary, I've watched the whole thing before. It is a completely fair analysis across all sides, taking all parties into account. There's no like making it worse for the trans person. Like, they do all this footage of like, oh yeah, it was terrible for the guys and he got really angry and it was terrible and shocking, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, they're trying to make it seem like a trans person. What you want about, dude?
Tom and Scott. And Tom was upset and crying. And Scott was pacing like a tiger. And I need to do something now to calm this down. And what the fuck do I say that's going to make this any better? They were like, I'm going to fucking kill her. No, whoa, boys, right? Just saying. Yes, she didn't tell you something, but it's not her. This is not on her. You people you're angry with is the people.
Yeah, also, this is true as well, right? This is the show that's facilitated this, right? Like, she has been told by the production crew to not let on and not let them know. It is 100% on the production crew.
And that's who they were angry with, the crew, the people round about them that they become friends with, that they felt had betrayed them, who were in on the biggest practical joke in the world.
It started to all hit home a bit. And then the language changes again. It's not fun language now.
Well, he isn't. I don't think that guy's the production team. He's more like one of the guards at Auschwitz, if you like, because I think he's like presumably he's a contracted psychologist or something, you know. So it's like, you know, he's only following orders, so to speak. I mean, it's still bad. Like, the fact the psychologist willingly agreed to do this and didn't say this is totally inappropriate and you shouldn't do it is obviously deranged in and of itself. But I don't think it's the same responsibility quite as like the producer that's laying it all on. They're the ones with the ultimate responsibility.
It's "Are you okay?" language. What do you mean, am I okay? It was a prank. Was it a prank? Hang on a minute, this is... What's going on here? No, hang on a minute. And it all starts sinking in. Everything that we've done, and we thought we were having fun, it feels like maybe they've just got their kicks. And we were kind of just collateral damage.
I began to get a little bit more annoyed on the boys' behalf, sort of thinking, no one's understood who these boys are and how big an impact this could have on their life.
Yeah, exactly.
Tom in particular was confused about how his sexuality would be portrayed. He said, he's an actor. I can't be a gay actor. Because at that time, 20 years ago, the boys saw someone with breasts and makeup on in a dress with genitals, male genitals, as a man. They didn't think that she was a woman.
Ooh. Yeah, of course it's yeah, exactly. It is.
I would say sorry because...
You know, trying to rationalise. They've got all this footage of me knocking about with this person. What is going to happen? How are they going to show it? Am I going to look like a gay? Right? And then that's going to have a, you know, deep impact on your, you know, perception of your sexuality. How are people going to look at you? It's just such a fucked up thing to do. Not let anyone on.
I lied to them. Not only Tom, to the other boys too. And my message for them will be, I'm a human being and I'm a normal person. And don't judge people for what they are outside, judge people for what they are inside.
Oh my god, dude.
Did you speak to her after the reveal itself?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that conversation?
Okay.
After the reveal and after the men had reacted, it was important to reassure Miriam and help her understand it wasn't
She
about
looks the
her.
type.
It was nothing she'd done.
It seems like some of the guys knew a bit and maybe a guest, but she does look very passable. Do you know what I mean? You can maybe understand. Maybe you might be like, oh, what is that little bulge there? Okay, it's probably nothing. Probably just got a fat pussy or something like that. But no, it was a fucking cock.
She had a feeling, a kind of sense of bravado, like, oh, well, that's what you can expect. That people will always reject you, always hurt you, always exclude you. There was a weary inevitability about it with her.
Many trans people don't make the leap into...
There was nothing you've done. What the fuck is it calling it? Literally wouldn't have happened. There wouldn't have been a show if she wasn't lying from the start. Yeah, but that was at the behest of the producers. I don't know how you can put it on Miriam. To me, it's the production that's involved.
Trying to have relationships. And can stay, celibate for the rest.
Brown men can pass for being women. When you see a white trans, you instantly see the hairy legs and big hands. Okay.
Of their life. Because it's society that stops people being accepting of it. It's not the person. Because it's the person, surely, it's the person we love. But people don't see it that way because there's not enough positivity around trans issues.
No! Fuck. Okay. Oh, fuck. Guys, the YouTube stream's gone down because of content ID. Fuck Channel 4, man. I'm just trying to leech. What's the problem? I'm just trying to have a bit of a leech. Come on. What's the issue, dude?
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off
I'm trying to have a little leech. It's okay. I'll come back up in a sec. It'll just be a few moments. It'll be a few moments, guys. Don't you worry. I kept checking because normally it comes up with a warning, but for some reason it didn't, and then it just happened. Come on, guys. Come on, YouTube. Come on. Come on, YouTube. I've stopped watching it now. No, it's okay. I can see chat. It's not because I'm being unfair. It's because I'm watching material that is copyright and is in the content ID system. Okay. There we go. We're back. We should be back. We should be back. Hello, 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 hello. Right. That's annoying. Dude, I was watching that thinking, oh, Channel 4 documentaries are good to go. Not in Content ID. But it turns out they are in Content ID. So what can you do? Well, Content ID doesn't care whether it's transformative, unfortunately. Anyway, final point to tie this off is this. Sky pays contestants on transsexual TV show, okay, a little while ago, different language, £500,000. Wait, what? We're not back. What? How? What? I'm not watching it anymore. What? Bro, I'm not watching it anymore. I've stopped watching it, bro.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off
Why? I'm not watching it, dude. What? I'm reading an article now. God, fuck me, dude. Dude, YouTube is so annoying sometimes. Oh, Just wait a second. It'll be back up in a moment, okay? Bo Black's won. Dude, it's so annoying because it's like actually fun content and I can't, you know.
I'm gay. I suck penis every day. Fuck me in the ass until you make me spray. I'm fucking gay. I hug men romantically. Drop your balls into my mouth. I really love the taste. Yeah, I'm gay. I need cum to start my day.
Thank you for the super chest, guys.
Juice to keep the straight away. I'm fucking gay. Your home was made for me. I'll crawl inside and live a life of quiet dignity. I'm fucking gay.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
I'm gay, and gay's my middle name. My first is also gay, yeah, my last name is the same. I'm fucking gay. At least that's what they say when they see me dancing gaily in the big gay fag parade. Yeah, I'm gay. I eat poo-poo last souffle and wash it down with piss like delicious.
Wait, hang on. Is it down again? Why? This is my this is my original content. I am making original content of me. I've turned the music off even. It's just me. It's me here by myself. Stop. God damn it, YouTube. Yeah, I get it. Yes. I've stopped watching it now, you fucking losers. Let me back. Let me speak. Let me speak. What? Is my stream just totally fucked? Is that the thing now? Did it do it again? Oh my god, dude. Okay, do I need to start another stream? Okay, fucking hell, dude. I'm gonna do it and then we'll raid over. Oh, okay, give me a sec. Give me a sec, guys, and we'll sort this out. God, it is absolutely ridiculous. How is it doing this? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Okay, hang on. Are we back? Is it good? Do we need to raid or not? Are we good? I think we're back. I think we're back. I think that just, yeah. Okay. Thank fuck for that, dude. Thank fuck for that. Yeah, raiding another stream is annoying and sometimes it goes, oh, what is going on with my video now? It wasn't a takedown, it was just a content ID claim.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people? Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Thank you for the super chat. And thank you for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Chud in 360p. Anyway, literally the only thing I just wanted to show before we moved on was there is some good news off the back of it. What? Is it gone down again? How? How? How has it gone down? Okay, I'm just starting a new stream. This is fucking ridiculous. How has it gone down again? I'm not what? I'm just sat here by myself. Fuck me, dude. Well and truly raped. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely unbelievable. Right. Reuse settings. Reuse settings. Copy this. Okay, give me like a minute and I'll be back. Oh, fuck me, dude. Here we go. Aggressive. Yeah. Customization. Why is the description? Oh, this is so fucking annoying, dude. You're raped unlucky. Yes, I am. Totally raped. Dude, I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to fix it now. I'm trying to fix it now. I thought it was fixed. So I stopped. Alright, okay. Schedule stream. Reuse settings from here. Perfect. Right, that's what I want. Copy this. Done. Copy this. Monetization on. Yes. Aggressive. Yes. Boom. 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 Check this is all right. Okay. Aggressive. On. Public. Yeah. Okay. Done. Okay. So copy that. Paste it here. Right, there we go. Sorry about this, guys. I just need to make sure everything's correct before I do it. Right, there we go, guys. I'm raiding the other stream now because I don't know if it's going to go down again. Okay? So I'm going to end this stream. You're going to be sent over to a new stream that I've linked in chat. Okay? Is it working? Should I still raid over or not? I'm going to raid over. I think I'm going to raid over. I think. No, I'm going to raid over. I'm just going to raid over. It's the easiest thing to be sure. I'm raiding over. I'm not. Okay, it's gone down again. I'm raiding over. Okay, there we go. I'll be back in just a sec.